Hello, everyone, and welcome inside the Ursprung Gymnasium at the Lou Higgins Center on the campus of Baldwin Wallace University, where it's Women's Ohio Athletic Conference volleyball action on tap for this evening as the Baldwin Wallace Yellow Jackets play host to the visiting Ohio Northern University Polar Bears. Matt Florjancic on the call, joined by BW men's volleyball star Michael Beard for today's match. Taking a look at the statistics coming into the match. Ohio Northern on a 2-match winning streak. They defeated Calvin and Trine in straight sets on October 5th. They also dropped their last conference match 3-2 to Marietta. They are 14-4 overall, 0-1 in conference play, just 3-2 away from home. Baldwin Wallace comes in on the heels of a 3-1 loss to Capital on a Saturday. They started off strong, winning the first set, and then fell 3 straight sets, 25-17, 25-21, and 25-20, to fall to 10-6 overall and 0-2 in Ohio Athletic Conference play. They are now 3-1 here on the home deck, and they're looking to atone for that one that got put in the right-hand column on Saturday. Michael, taking a look at what the Yellow Jackets did well in that first set, how are they able to jump out to a fast start against Capital, and what's the key to them being able to jump out not only to a fast start but then keep things rolling in a positive direction?
Well, I think the biggest thing, you can say it for pretty much every game, but especially for ONU tonight, you got to keep the ball in play from the service line and while attacking. And then I think something else that they did well is they forced Capital into some really uncomfortable positions in transition in that first set on Saturday. Put themselves in some great spots and really made Capital have to work for it. I think if they can do that again, I think that they'll be in a good spot tonight.
Baldwin Wallace comes in winners in 2 of their last 3 matches, obviously coming off of the 1 setback against Capital. Ohio Northern comes in winners of 2 of their last 3, and then you go beyond that, they're winners of 8 of their last 9 matches. They're on quite the roll today, or coming into today's match, despite being 0-1 in the Ohio Athletic Conference. You can't really take a look at that record. You have to look at the overall record of 14-4 and realize that this team has played some of the best teams in the country. Their 4 losses have come in 5 sets against Case Western Reserve University, in straight sets at Juniata, then straight sets at Transylvania, and then in a 5-set thriller against Marietta. This is a battle-tested, battle-hardened Ohio Northern team, and they are going to present quite the challenge to the Yellow Jackets tonight.
Yeah, absolutely. I think the one thing that you look at, though, my entire time here, BW has always played Ohio Northern tough. I think the only time that a game hasn't gone at least 4 sets was, I believe it was 2 years ago when we actually swept ONU here at home. So, there is something to be said about that. Sometimes teams just kind of have your number and always play you tough. So I'm looking for probably at least 4 sets tonight. But, should be super competitive game tonight.
Yeah, we're seeing tough play in the baseball playoffs as the Cleveland Guardians fell earlier today to the Tigers. They've now dropped 2 straight and are on the brink. They have to win the next 2 to keep their season going and advance in the postseason. And much like that, same thing here. You've got to find a way to fight through the adversity, do what you do well, don't get too far away from it, realize that you're only 1 hit away from really turning things around in a positive direction.
Absolutely, yeah. There's nothing we can do about Saturday's game now. A loss is a loss. You hate to see it, but at this point, all you can do is look forward, pay attention to this game that you got right now, and just hope that you can continue any momentum further on into the season.
Yeah, the momentum is key. You've got a lot of Ohio Athletic Conference matches coming up. You've got a weekend set up at the Hope College October tournament. You're going to see a lot of good volleyball action there, and then you're going to get into the teeth of the Ohio Athletic Conference regular season play, I should say, before you possibly get to an Ohio Athletic Conference tournament. So opportunity there to step in and do some damage over the weekend and then continue it back into conference play once you return next week.
Yeah, absolutely. I think the biggest thing about this weekend, though, is you want to just stay healthy. We've got a lot of people on the team right now battling some injuries. Sydney Simonson, she's battling some shin splints and some lower leg injuries. Gabby Schlecht has been out the past couple games, not being able to play front row with a shoulder problem. So I think just being able to, try to keep everybody healthy or get people healthier for the real teeth of conference play here that you mentioned coming up. This weekend, obviously you want to win every game, but out of conference at this point is not as important as your OAC conference games. So, I think that's what's going to take priority this weekend. But, hopefully they can still perform well this weekend as well.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Big weekend ahead. But before that, we've got to get tonight's game underway, and we will do that right after the national anthem. We will pause on bwyellowjackets.com. And now let's take a look at the starting lineups for tonight's match. First at setter for the Ohio Northern Polar Bears, a 5'6" senior from Somerset, Ohio, and Sheridan High School, number 3, Grace Conrad. At defensive specialist, a 5'10" senior from Novi, Michigan, number 8, Rachel Jennings. An outside hitter, a 6-foot freshman from Fort Laramie, number 11, Summer Hoying. At right side hitter, a 6'1" senior from Massillon Perry High School, number 16, Aaron Wagner. At middle hitter, a 5'11" senior from Farmington Hills, Michigan, number 22, Lauren James. At middle hitter, a 5'10" senior from Minnetonka, Minnesota, number 23, Sonia Delin. And at outside hitter, a 5'9" sophomore from Eaton, number 27, Olivia Bauman. The head coach of the Polar Bears, Sophie Windover. She's assisted by Katie Kidwell and Lindsay Trusty. Starting it off for the Baldwin Wallace Yellow Jackets, at defensive specialist, a 5'2" senior from Avon and St. Joseph Academy, number 1, Lauren Gardner. At defensive specialist, a 5'4" junior from Strongsville, number 2, Jamie Snell. At setter, a 5'7" junior from DeLand, Florida, number 6, Katarina Blazetic. At outside hitter, a 5'11" junior from Naperville, Illinois, number 7, Gabby Schlecht. At outside hitter, a 5'9" senior from Sullivan, Ohio, and Black River High School, number 8, Sydney Simonson. At outside hitter, a 5'8" senior from Aurora, Illinois, number 21, Sam Ruetta. And at middle hitter, a 6-foot freshman from Wabash, Indiana, number 26, Josie Lynn. The Yellow Jackets coached by Kate Latkovic in her first season. She's assisted by Anthony Winter and T.R. Harker, the graduate assistant, Sophie Chacon. The Yellow Jackets will be in white with gold numerals in brown trim. Jackets written across the front of the jersey in brown. Actually, Baldwin Wallace, I should say, written in on the front of the jersey. Jackets on the front of the Liberos jersey. That's Lauren Gardner. She will be in brown with gold and white trim. Ohio Northern will be in black uniforms with orange and a white trim along the sleeves of the jersey. Orange numbers in white trim on the front and back. And Ohio Northern written across the front of the jersey in orange lettering. Once again, the Baldwin Wallace Yellow Jackets coming off of a 4-set loss to Capital. Ohio Northern coming in on the heels of back-to-back wins in straight sets over Calvin and Trine over the weekend. They dropped a 3-2 match to Marietta last Friday night. Ohio Northern will hit left to right here in the first set. BW will hit right to left. Once again, Matt Flor-Jancic and Michael Beard on the call for today's match between the Yellow Jackets and the Polar Bears.
Interesting looking start here. It looks like we got Sam Rueda back on the outside after she's been playing right side here recently. And Jamie Snell back row for our right side, who at this point is unknown. I would assume probably Lexi Smith or Allison Wider. Still to be seen, I guess.
Still to be seen is correct. Ohio Northern will be on serve and doing the honors. It's Grace Conrad. She's a 3-year letter winner in her final year with the program. Schlecht on the reception, up to Blazetic, over to Rueda on the tip. It's backed up by Conrad. The Polar Bears will get it over after a collision. Now Schlecht on the dig, quick set for Simonson. Conrad handles it. Third hit over, it's taken by Schnell. Then Blazetic sends it over on the second hit, has it blocked right back to her. Rueda off the top of the net. It's down for a Yellow Jacket point. Lexi Smith, the 5'10 sophomore from Tiffin Columbian High School, checks into the match. She'll relieve Jamie Snell. Katarina Blazetic goes on serve. 22 service aces on the season. Ohio Northern hits it over. Blazetic on the dive. Can't keep it alive long enough for a teammate to get underneath it. And we're even at 1. Summer Hoying on serve now. The jumping right-hander received by Gardner. Up to Blazetic to Rueda. She puts it back corner. Conrad on the dig. It's tipped over on the third hit by Ohio Northern, handled by the Yellow Jackets. Over to Lexi Smith. Conrad with the dig for the Bears. Now it's Ballman who puts it over. Gardner there to Blazetic, now to Rueda. Goes back corner, and she sends it a little bit wide. It's a point for the Polar Bears, and they will stay on serve. Good idea, just a little bit too much behind it.
Yeah, and she just missed hands a little bit there, too. She missed out of bounds by a foot, and she missed hands by about an inch.
Hoying serve, played up to Blazetic, tight to the net. Simonson hits it through a block, and the Polar Bears somehow get it over on the third hit. Lexi Smith now will tip it over. It's played up to Conrad, and what a dive by Gardner to keep it alive, but the Yellow Jackets whistled for an infraction, and the Polar Bears will get the point and stay on serve.
I think something to look for here early in the game is how aggressive BW is out of system. I think they got a little too timid against Capital, especially in the later sets, but they got to keep swinging at those out-of-system balls here if they want a chance against ONU.
Rueda hits it into a block, and an instinct hits it right back over, and it's down for a kill from the Ohio Northern Polar Bears as Wagner skied above the net and thundered it down to the floor. Wagner, easily the team leader in kills. That's now 274 for her on the year. Schlecht on the serve reception, up to Blazetic, over to Rueda. Off the Polar Bear, out of bounds. It's a point for the Yellow Jackets on the Rueda kill.
I think something else to look for here in the start, too, is BW against Capital did not do a very good job of keeping the ball away from the libero of Capital on defense and kind of let her take over the game.
Wagner blasted.
See him staying away from her to start here.
Yeah, Wagner blasted the ball over the net again. Lauren Gardner with the dig to keep it alive, and the Yellow Jackets get the point. After the point, Gardner emphatically throwing down a couple of high fives with teammates. This is a young lady that wants to win this match in the worst possible way. The Polar Bears hit it into a block, and then Wagner gets a second look at it, and this time she finishes the job, hits it out of bounds off of Katarina Blazetic. Point to the Polar Bears, and Rachel Jennings will go on serve.
There's a great example right there for you for the ONU right side. Don't hit it at Lauren Gardner. Hit it at anybody else.
It's a pretty good strategy to keep going. Lexi Smith will tip it over on the third hit for the Yellow Jackets. It's handled by the Bears, tipped over into a block, and it's down for the Yellow Jacket point. Looked like Sydney Simonson got in there and send it to the floor and get the Yellow Jackets to within a point. Josie Lynn back in, and Simonson will check out. Gardner goes on serve. She floats it over, and it's an ace as it falls right in front of Summer Hoying. Excellent placement by Gardner.
Something interesting to look at here, too. ONU is only passing 2 here. A lot more open court for Gardner to hit.
Gardner gets it over. It's set up to Wagner. Gardner gets a hand on it, and it goes into the Yellow Jacket bench. A couple of young ladies hustling after it. Bryn McClellan and Sam Ruetta threw on the brakes as soon as they got close to the chairs, and it goes back to an Ohio Northern 1-point lead. In the serve, it's Haley Hammer, the 5'7" freshman from Fairview. It's received by the Yellow Jackets, punched over by Lynn, and once again, the Yellow Jackets find a soft spot in Ohio Northern's alignment and put it down for the point. Lexi Smith will take a seat. Jamie Snell will come back in, and she will be on serve for the Yellow Jackets. Floats it over. It's played up to the setter. To the right side, Ruetta on the dig. It's going right back over. And a couple of blocks back and forth, and Ohio Northern will get a kill. Very unsuspecting Rachel Jennings hitting it over and putting it down for the point.
Unsuspecting is a great way to put that.
I think she was the most surprised person in the gym based on her reaction. She just looked up like, wow, I wasn't anticipating doing that, but hey, it counts nonetheless. Ohio Northern on serve. It's played up to Josie Lynn, and the freshman from Northfield High School in Indiana thunders it down to the court for a Yellow Jacket point.
I think that's another big key to BW's success here tonight is how well can you run the middles. The last 2 times out of serve receive, perfect passes, and Katarina Blazetic has found the middle twice.
McClellan on the serve. The Polar Bears play it over. Snell on the dig. Up to Blazetic, over to Ruetta, into a block. It's backed up by Snell. Lynn gets a second hit, and the Ohio Northern Polar Bears reached over and touched it, so the Yellow Jackets able to play up. Dive by Gardner, trying to keep it alive. It goes out of bounds. It's a point for Ohio Northern, but not for lack of effort by Lauren Gardner as she hit the deck hard, diving to her left to try and keep it alive. Very close to interference by the Polar Bears there, Michael.
Yeah, I thought she was over the net personally, but the refs did not see it that way, so play on.
Ohio Northern comes up with a big block of a Josie Lynn hit, and they put it down for the point. They now lead it by 2. It's 9-7, and Lauren James will stay on serve. She dribbles it out with both hands 4 times and hits the flat-footed serve, low, and Snell with a dive on the reception. Over to Ruetta now. It's dug out by the Polar Bears. Sent over to the left side into a block. It's a kill for Ohio Northern. That's Summer Hoying coming up with a big hit. Lauren James stays on serve, looking to build on a 3-point advantage over the Yellow Jackets. And it goes long. Well, it's a point, BW on the side out, and they will go on serve. And it will be Josie Lynn who will do the honors. Lynn this year, 17 service aces, 24 service errors. She gets it over at an .842 percentage. It's taken by Jennings. Now to the outside, it'll be down for the point as 3 Yellow Jackets could get a hand on it, but nobody could really elevate it toward the net. So the 3-point lead is back for the Polar Bears. They're up 11-8 here in the first set. And it'll be Grace Conrad once again going on serve.
Big couple rotations here for the Jackets. You got Wagner back front row. You want to get her out of here as soon as possible.
Blazetic with a quick tip, and it'll somehow get punched over on a third hit. Now Blazetic with the set to Rueda through a block. Jennings keeps it alive on the dive. It gets punched over by Hoying. Rueda to Gardner, back to Rueda. Puts it back corner. It's handled by the Polar Bears. Up to Wagner. She goes far side, and that's going to be a kill as the Yellow Jackets cannot keep it alive. Schlecht had it first hit, and then Blazetic tracked it down, but well out of bounds. And no chance to get it over the net. 4-point lead now for the Polar Bears, 12-8, and BW will burn its first timeout of the first set. And while we have this opportunity, I want to remind you that tonight's Yellow Jacket women's volleyball match is being brought to you by University Hospitals Jasinski Sports Medicine Institute, proud official healthcare provider for BW Athletics and its student athletes, BSN Sports and Nike, the official apparel and uniform provider for Yellow Jacket Athletics, Dan Andrews and Olympic Forest Products, a global recycling company. Tonight's match is also brought to you by City Barbecue, celebrating 25 years of competition quality barbecue. The Oswald Company, risk and insurance leaders since 1893. Chuck Rotuno and OE Connection LLC, your global automotive technology provider. Barron's Bus Lines, the official charter bus company of Yellow Jacket Athletics. Mike's Bar and Grill in downtown Berea, a great place before or after any Yellow Jacket event. And Medical Mutual of Ohio, the official healthcare provider of Baldwin Wallace University. You are listening to tonight's Yellow Jacket women's volleyball match on BWYellowJackets.com. 12-8 our score here in the first set. It's the Ohio Northern Polar Bears leading the Baldwin Wallace Yellow Jackets. Gardner, Rueda, Blazetic, Simonson, Schlecht, and Snell on the floor for the Yellow Jackets. Jennings, Hoying, Dallin, Wagner, Conrad on the floor for the Polar Bears. Rueda on the reception, up to Blazetic. Simonson through a block. It's punched back over. Now Rueda trying to tip it over. She will. Hoying to Conrad. And down for the kill. That's DeLynn. Conrad will stay on serve for the Polar Bears. They lead it by 5. Gardner to Blazetic to Simonson. She goes across her body. It's Conrad on the dig. Now to Wagner through a block. It's an Ohio Northern point once again. The ball just has a way of finding Aaron Wagner tonight.
Well, I mean, from the 22 points that I've seen, it's pretty clear that she is the go-to hitter in every scenario, and they're just going to try to feed her the ball as often as possible.
Blazetic on the set to Rueda through a block, and it's down for the Yellow Jacket point. That'll break a rally for the Polar Bears and give the Yellow Jackets 9 points here this first set. They trail it by 5, 14-9, and it's Katarina Blazetic who will be back on serve for the Yellow Jackets. It's played by Hoying, up to Conrad, over to Wagner, into a block, and it's down for the Ohio Northern point.
It's not something that you're going to face very often right there. A lefty coming in to run a 32, it looked like, maybe a 31 even. Just not something that you're used to seeing in practice.
Hoying with the serve. It's played by Jennings after Smith hit it over. Now Conrad plays over a free. Schlecht to Blazetic to Simonson off the top of a block. It's Conrad to Jennings. She'll quick tip it over. It's down for the point.
That might be the first time that I've ever seen a libero dump a ball on 2.
Well, it worked as she had good court vision. She was able to find a soft spot in the Yellow Jacket alignment, and it's now Ohio Northern 16, Baldwin Wallace 9 here in the first set, and BW will burn its second and final timeout of this first set. Tough sledding so far, Michael, but not something that we're foreign to seeing in Ohio Athletic Conference play. These are always hard-fought matches, especially anytime you got the black and orange of Ohio Northern in your building.
Yeah, absolutely. I think the one thing that I've seen so far is obviously
Wagner for ONU has been on fire to start here, but a lot of her kills are coming out of system, and I just wonder how sustainable that is. I don't have the stats in front of me, but I assume she's probably hitting around 500 right now with, like I said, majority of those swings coming on out of system balls. And I just wonder throughout the course of a game if she's going to be able to continue that kind of pace. If she is, hats off to her, and that's just a better game from her. But if I'm BW, I kind of like what I've been doing on offense. Obviously, the scoreboard doesn't say it right now, but they've forced the libero to set a lot of balls, make the setter have to dig the first contact, and make Wagner have to put it away against a solid double block.
So it's Hoying on serve, Schlecht on the reception, up to Blazetic, over to Rueda, into a block, but it's out of bounds off of the Bears. Point for the Yellow Jackets. Sam Rueda on serve. She punches it over, and that's going to be an ace as it caroms off of Summer Hoying into the big curtain that separates Ursprung Gymnasium from the field house here at Baldwin Wallace. Rueda stays on serve. We'll hit it over once more, played in the back row, up to Conrad, over to Wagner. It's dug out by Blazetic, tight to the net. It'll be tipped down for the point by Sonia DeLynn.
I like that, though, from Rueda. You get a new DS that comes in, immediately serve her. Make her have to play immediately.
It's a good strategy. You got to test her early to see what she can handle. Jennings on the serve, Rueda on the reception. It goes over to Lexi Smith. She goes far back corner and hits it just a little bit wide. Point for the Bears.
I think something else to look at is BW has been taking some great swings that they've just missed out of bounds by a couple feet each time. I mean, they just got to keep ripping like that throughout the whole game now.
Rueda on the reception of the Blazetic, and Simonson will punch it just past the back line. Another point for the Polar Bears. And to your point, Michael, just another hit that was well placed, just a little bit too long.
Yeah, and as you go along into the game, you just hope that those will eventually start to find the court.
Blazetic on the set, Lexi Smith on the hit. Wagner gets the second hit, and it's punched over on a free ball. Rueda to Blazetic, to Simonson, through a block. It's kept up alive over to James, and now it'll miss her, go to Ballman, and Ballman will hit it into the net, and it's down on Ohio Northern side for a Yellow Jacket point. Gardner on serve now for the Yellow Jackets. Jennings on reception, over to Wagner, and it's down for a point.
If I'm BW right now, I am shifting when Wagner's in. I am shifting both of my middle blocker and my outside blocker over to her. Make sure that she's swinging against a double block every time. Make ONU set somebody else to beat you.
Rueda on the reception, Blazetic to Smith now. Smith will get it down after one Polar Bear hit it, so it's a Yellow Jacket point. And to your point, Michael, it's pretty good strategy to try and keep away the ball from Aaron Wagner at this point in the festivities.
I mean, there's only so much you can do as far as her actually getting set, but just make her job as difficult as possible. And I think right now, the middle in particular is getting a little sucked in, maybe giving a little too much respect to the middles of ONU.
The Yellow Jackets get a block from Bryn McClellan, and it's down for the point. Ashley Curtis will stay on serve for the Yellow Jackets, who trail at 20-14. Hit to the back row. Now to the left side, a southpaw hitter sends it over. It's backed up by McClellan and hit over by Lynn. The Polar Bears will send it back. Lynn on a second attempt, hits it down through a block for a Yellow Jacket point.
I like the repeat set there as well from Blazetic. Lynn has a good first swing, doesn't quite get the kill. Get another chance in transition, set her again, and she's able to find the floor.
So the Polar Bears will burn their first time out of the first set. And while we have this opportunity, I want to remind you that tonight's Yellow Jacket women's volleyball game is being brought to you by University Hospital's Straczynski Sports Medicine Institute, proud official healthcare provider for BW Athletics and its student athletes. BSN Sports and Nike, the official apparel and uniform provider for Yellow Jacket Athletics. And Dane Andrews and Olympic Forest Products, a global recycling company. Tonight's match is also brought to you by City Barbecue, celebrating 25 years of competition quality barbecue. The Oswald Company, risk and insurance leaders since 1893. Chuck Rotuno and OE Connection LLC, your global automotive technology provider. Barron's Bus Lines, the official charter bus company of Yellow Jacket Athletics. Mike's Bar and Grill in downtown Berea, a great place before or after any Yellow Jacket event. And Medical Mutual of Ohio, the official healthcare provider of Baldwin Wallace University. You're enjoying tonight's Yellow Jacket women's volleyball match on BWYellowJackets.com. Gardner, Ruetta, McClellan, Blazetic, Lynn, and Curtis on the floor for the Yellow Jackets. Curtis will stay on serve. The Polar Bears counter with Hammer, Ballman, James, Jennings, and it's played up to James. Curtis on the dig. The Yellow Jackets called for an infraction, point to the Polar Bears. Also on the floor, Haley Miller, a 5'1" freshman defensive specialist from just up the road here in North Ridgeville. And now a couple substitutions as Summer Hoying comes back. Grace Ermer will be on serve. It's played by Gardner. Up to Blazetic, over to McClellan. She winds and fires, but hits it just a little bit too far out of bounds for the Ohio Northern point. Ermer with the flat-footed serve. And we have an infraction against the Yellow Jackets. Point to Ohio Northern.
Got called for out of rotation. I'm not sure who it was, though.
Snell on the reception. Over to Gardner. Now to McClellan. It's played by Jennings. Quick tip. Backed up by Ruetta. Over to Blazetic. Now to Lynn off the top of the block. Kept alive by Jennings. Left-handed hit by Kate Zellers. Played by the Yellow Jackets. And Ruetta puts it into the net. Set point for Ohio Northern. Ermer on serve. And that's an ace. And that will be the end of the first set with Ohio Northern taking it 25-15 over the Baldwin Wallace Yellow Jackets. We're going to step aside for a break. When we come back, we'll have second set action for you right here on BWYellowJackets.com. And Michael Beard on the call of today's match between Baldwin Wallace and Ohio Northern. Ohio Northern with a 1-0 lead after taking the first set 25-15 over the Baldwin Wallace Yellow Jackets. As a team, Ohio Northern had 34 total attacks, 17 kills, only 2 attack errors. They hit at a 441 clip, and you can look no further than Aaron Wagner as to why that happened. 13 total attacks, 8 kills, 615 hit percentage. Michael, it does not get much better than that.
No, that is an elite number, an elite percentage, regardless of what level you're looking at. Men's, women's, even international play. 615 is an impressive number.
It means you're finishing at the net early and often, and that's exactly what she did. Ohio Northern with 16 set assists in that first set. Leading the way, it was Grace Conrad with 9. The Yellow Jackets, conversely, had 9 kills and 41 total attacks, 6 errors, 0.73 hit percentage. And Katarina Blazetic had 8 of the team's 9 set assists in that first set. Starting it off for Ohio Northern in the second set, it will be Ballman, James, Conrad, Hoying, DeLynn, and Wagner. And starting it off for the Baldwin Wallace Yellow Jackets, we'll get that to you in just a second as they are still breaking the huddle down. It will be Gabby Schlecht, Katarina Blazetic, Sam Ruetta, Sydney Simonson, Josie Lynn, and Lauren Gardner. And they got some encouragement from the official to put a step on it as they used every bit of that in between set break and then some before taking the court. Ohio Northern will hit right to left, BW left to right here in this second set. It's 1-0 in favor of the Polar Bears. And the Yellow Jackets will be on serve now. Some last-minute shuffling for the Yellow Jackets. As Josie Lynn will be sent onto the court to make sure that they're in the proper alignment, and then she'll be promptly lifted for Lauren Gardner. Katarina Blazetic will go on serve for the Yellow Jackets. They had 1 service ace in that first set, and Blazetic comes in, ranks second on the team with 22 service aces, behind Lauren Gardner, who has the lone one tonight and 33 on the season. Jennings on the reception, up to Conrad, over to Ballman. She has it blocked, and the Polar Bears trying to send it over. They will. Blazetic with the second hit. Ruetta down the line, dug out by Ballman. Conrad to Wagner, through a block attempt. It's a dive from Gardner to keep it alive. Now it's McClellan going far side. It's kept alive by the Polar Bears. Blazetic with a dig now, over to Gardner, now to Ruetta on the right side. It's dug out by Conrad. Over to Jennings, now to Hoying off the top of a block. Yellow Jackets keep it alive once more. McClellan off the top of the net, and it's going to be punched over on the third hit. McClellan to Blazetic, to Ruetta off her back foot. Wagner gets first hit to Conrad on the quick tip. A dive by Blazetic keeps it alive. Then it'll be punched over by Schlecht on the third hit. Good rally going as Gardner gets the second hit. Ruetta goes across court, and it's kept alive by Conrad. Over to Hoying off the top of a block. McClellan hits it over. Now Jennings to Conrad, and it's punched out of bounds by DeLynn. A point for the Yellow Jackets. And you're not going to find much harder of a fought point in a volleyball match as we just saw there.
That's a great point to start BW out, especially after kind of how that last set went. They got a dig on Wagner to start there as well. Always good for the confidence.
Blazetic stays on serve. Ohio Northern twice keeps it alive on a free, and then Schlecht will hit it out of bounds into the Ohio Northern bench. And that will be an equalizing point as we're tied at 1 here in the second set. Summer Hoying on serve for the Polar Bears. 28 service aces on the year. And it's best on the team. McClellan on the hit. It's set up for Wagner now, and right down the line, it's Lauren Gardner with the dig. Ruetta now with a third hit. It's played up by the Polar Bears, and through a block and into the official standing out of bounds for the Ohio Northern point.
This has been a good start for BW defensively. Wagner has yet to have a kill on 3 swings this set so far.
We will see how long the Yellow Jackets can keep it that way. Ruetta on the reception, set up for Simonson into a block, and it's down for the Polar Bear point. As getting up and putting it down, Sonia DeLynn, the Minnetonka, Minnesota native. Hoying stays on serve with the Polar Bears in front by 2. Schleck tight to the net, and Blazetic stepped over the center line. That's a point for the Polar Bears. Hoying with another jumping right-hander, played by Ruetta. Up to Blazetic. It'll go over, and Blazetic again, I think, stepped over the center line underneath the net. And the official flagged her on it. It's now a 5-1 lead for the Polar Bears. Schlecht on the reception. Blazetic with the set. Over to Ruetta. Into a block. And it never really crossed the net. Another point for Ohio Northern. And we're getting close to timeout territory. And there we go. Kate Latkovic will call for the timeout with the Polar Bears leading the Yellow Jackets 6-1 here in the second set. While we have this opportunity, I want to remind you that tonight's Yellow Jacket women's volleyball match is being brought to you by University Hospital's Straczynski Sports Medicine Institute, proud official healthcare provider for BW Athletics and its student athletes. BSN Sports and Nike, the official apparel and uniform provider for Yellow Jacket Athletics. And Dan Andrews and Olympic Forest Products, a global recycling company. Tonight's match is also brought to you by City Barbecue, celebrating 25 years of competition quality barbecue. The Oswald Company, risk and insurance leaders since 1893. Chuck Rotuno and OE Connection LLC, your global automotive technology provider. Barron's Bus Lines, the official charter bus company of Yellow Jacket Athletics. Mike's Bar and Grill in downtown Berea, a great place before or after any Yellow Jacket event. And Medical Mutual of Ohio, the official healthcare provider of Baldwin Wallace University. You're enjoying tonight's Yellow Jacket women's volleyball match on BWYellowJackets.com. So, Michael, the Yellow Jackets have done a pretty good job keeping the ball away from Aaron Wagner. It's everybody else on the court, though, who's doing the damage for the Polar Bears here in the early going of this second set.
Well, so far it's more just been self-inflicted wounds. You've had a couple of passes that just went a little tight to the net that Blazetic couldn't get to, and then you've had a couple of attack errors, and that's pretty much the difference right now.
So Summer Hoying will stay on a serve. It's Ruetta, plays it up to Blazetic, over to Simonson, and she clubs it out of bounds. The Yellow Jackets thought there was a tip on that, and they actually were celebrating the point, and that was not the case.
I don't think I've ever seen something like that, a group kind of celebration to try to fool the officials. I like that.
Unfortunately for the Yellow Jackets, it didn't work, but that will work as Sam Ruetta reads the set from Katarina Blazetic perfectly and crashes it to the court for a Yellow Jacket point.
That's just what the Yellow Jackets got to keep doing, is you just got to keep swinging away the whole game, regardless of what the score is, regardless of if you've gotten blocked, whatever the case might be. If you want to win this game, you're going to have to swing to score.
They did on that. Now they got to keep it going. Jamie Snell checks in to serve. It's played up and over and down by Olivia Ballman for the kill. Also in the lineup, seeing her first action today for Baldwin Wallace, number 9, Bella Martinez, a 5'11 freshman outside hitter from Newark. Rachel Jennings goes on serve for Ohio Northern with an 8-2 advantage. Snell on the reception, and Ruetta missed it. That play was doomed from the start. Snell had a carom off of her straight up into the air. Ruetta tracked it down, but then just flat out missed the ball. Tough point for the Yellow Jackets there. Jennings punches it over. Snell on a reception. and it's down for the ace as Martinez dove after it, trying to get a second hit on it, but could not reach it in time. Everybody had gravitated toward the near side of the court. It went wide, and that gave the Ohio Northern Polar Bears the point. It's 10-2 Polar Bears, and the Yellow Jackets burn their second and final timeout of this second set. They know that they cannot let this get out of hand too quickly, and to your point earlier, Michael, a lot of these points have been self-inflicted wounds.
Yeah, the rest of this set is going to be very interesting. You know, BW has no more timeouts left, and we've played 12 points so far. This could either get out of hand even more than it already is, or, you know, BW shows some fight back and, you know, makes a set out of this. Obviously hoping for the latter there, but really just got to clean up our side of the net. ONU not really doing anything crazy from the service line, but they've caused 2 overpasses and I believe 2 aces just this set alone. Not going to get it done for the Jackets.
Yeah, it's been a tough set so far. Plenty of time to turn it around, though. It's 10-2. Ohio Northern in favor of the Baldwin Wallace Yellow Jackets, and the Polar Bears staying on serve with Rachel Jennings, who's doing the honors. She's on the floor with Hoying, James, Conrad, Wagner, and Ballman. Snell on the reception, up to Blazetic, over to Rueda. She hits it far back corner and out of bounds for the Polar Bear point. Martinez, Simonson, and Blazetic on the floor with Snell, Gardner, and Martinez. And now Rueda will be subbed out for Lexi Smith. Jennings will try the other side of the court this time. She started mostly on the left with her serves, now goes right, punches it over. Snell on a dive, keeps it alive. Simonson with a quick hit, goes far side corner, finds a gap, and puts it down for the Yellow Jacket point.
It's a great play to get back in it right there. A great pass by Snell after she had been struggling a little bit in serve receive. Blazetic's able to find the middle.
Lauren Gardner on the serve, it's played. Over to Jennings, now to Ballman on the third hit, through a block. Snell to Blazetic, quick hit from Lynn, and it's down for the Yellow Jacket point.
Jamie Snell, a couple of great passes in a row right there. Blazetic able to run the middle back-to-back times effectively.
Gardner stays on serve, and that's going to be an ace as it was pretty tight to the ground, and Hoying could not elevate it on the reception. Hoying will sub out, and checking in, it's Haley Miller. Gardner floats it over. It's played up to Conrad, over to Wagner. Smith on the first hit, Lynn on the second. Snell sends it over on a free. Wagner with a hit, and Wagner thinks she got a kill, but she hit it off of the post that extends from the net. It's a Yellow Jacket point.
How about a little bit of soccer there from Josie Lynn?
Yeah, quick reaction with the foot, keeping the point alive. And Gardner stays on serve. Ballman on the reception, up to Conrad, over to Wagner. It's Blazetic on the dig. Gardner on the second hit, and it's punched over by Martinez. Conrad sets it for Ballman on the left side. It's handled by the Yellow Jackets. Blazetic on the set. Smith on a left-handed hit through a block. And it's out of bounds off of the Polar Bears point for the Yellow Jackets. And the Yellow Jackets cut the deficit to 4. After being down 10-2, it's now 11-7 with the Polar Bears in front. The BW winners of 5 of the last 6 points, forcing the Polar Bears into their first timeout. While we have this opportunity, we want to remind you that tonight's Yellow Jacket women's volleyball match is being brought to you by University Hospital's Straczynski Sports Medicine Institute, proud official healthcare provider for BW Athletics and its student athletes. BSN Sports and Nike, the official apparel and uniform provider for Yellow Jacket Athletics. Dan Andrews and Olympic Forest Products, a global recycling company. City Barbecue, celebrating 25 years of competition quality barbecue. And the Oswald Company, risk and insurance leaders since 1893. Tonight's match is also brought to you by Chuck Rotuno and OE Connection LLC, your global automotive technology provider. Barron's Bus Lines, the official charter bus company of Yellow Jacket Athletics. Mike's Bar and Grill in downtown Berea, a great place before or after any Yellow Jacket event. And Medical Mutual of Ohio, the official healthcare provider of Baldwin Wallace University. You're enjoying tonight's Yellow Jacket women's volleyball match on BWYellowJackets.com. Out of the timeout, it's Jennings, Wagner, Conrad, James, Miller, and Ballman on the floor for the Polar Bears. Martinez, Lynn, Smith, Blazetic, Snell, and Gardner on the floor for the Yellow Jackets. Gardner on the serve. It's played over to Wagner, and then she hits it into the net for an attack error, point for the Yellow Jackets.
Well, as great as Wagner was starting out in the first set, she is 0 kills, 2 errors on 7 attempts so far here in the second set, hitting negative.
James with a quick hit, through a block, it's backed up by Martinez. Smith punches it over, and it's going to be down for the Yellow Jacket kill.
Jackets are just doing a great job here these last couple points of just simply not letting the ball hit the floor. And it's really frustrating ONU's offense.
Gardner serves, Miller on the reception. It's over to Ballman now. Snell on the dig, up to Blazetic. Quick hit from Lynn, and she sends it out of bounds. She tried to go near side and hit a little too thin.
That's a great run, though, to get BW back in the game, and now you got Wagner out of the game. Definitely could bring it back even closer here in these next couple rotations.
The serve is received by Snell on a dive, up to Blazetic, over to Martinez, dug out somehow by Miller, over to Jennings. Now it's hit through a block and down by Kate Zellers. Snell on the reception once again, up to Blazetic, into a block, and it's down. 4-point. Ballman and James got hands on that Lexi Smith hit. And Hammer will stay on serve once more. Snell on the reception, up to Blazetic, over to Lexi Smith, into a block, and the Polar Bears get called for an infraction, point to the Yellow Jackets. It's never a good feeling when you're a broadcaster and you have your reads on your phone and you accidentally hit the delete key once. Just saying, that's not very fun. Does Yellow Jacket serve? Played up and over into a block by Ohio Northern, but they'll keep it alive and get a second crack at it. McClellan off, or rather Martinez off her back foot, gets the kill for the Yellow Jackets and makes it a 3-point Ohio Northern lead as their lead is cut to 14-11 here in the second set with Sam Ruetta coming on to serve it up.
That's the aggression that I'm talking about right there. Freshman coming in, step closing to a ball at 11 feet and just hitting it to a deep corner.
The ball is whistled down. Ruetta thought she got a hand underneath it to keep it alive. The Yellow Jackets were trying to play out the point, but it's awarded to the Polar Bears.
Based on that reaction from Ruetta, I'm going to say that that one was actually up.
You're not going to get any closer than that. I mean, it was a well-played dive by Sam Ruetta. The official just overruling the Yellow Jackets' thoughts on that one. Martinez on the outside, it puts it down for the kill. And she's come on and given the Yellow Jackets some quality looks at that outside hitter position. Snell checks out with Martinez. McClellan and Curtis come back in. Curtis, a 5'5" senior from Bolingbrook, Illinois. She sends it over to the right hand. Set up for James. It's blocked by Lynn. Now over to Zellers. Backed up by the Yellow Jackets. Back row attack from Ruetta. She goes near side, and it gets the line for a Yellow Jacket point.
That's a great shot there. I mean, there's absolutely nothing you can do on defense to defend that one.
Curtis stays on serve with the Yellow Jackets. Just 2 points off of the pace set by Ohio Northern. First hit, tight to the net. It'll be punched over on a third. Blazedic with the set. Lynn through a block, and it's down for another Yellow Jacket point. And I think Ohio Northern might be burning their second and final timeout. They will burn that second and final timeout. We are out of timeouts the rest of the way. 15-14. Ohio Northern clinging to a 1-point lead in this second set, which they at 1 point led by a 10-2 count. The Yellow Jackets outscoring them 12-5 over the last 17 points, Michael.
Yeah, I'm very excited for the end of this set. It's not too often that you see both teams blow timeouts before you get to 30 total points played in a set. This is going to be a very interesting end of the set, and just to see who can weather the storm better.
This is a good test for the Yellow Jackets to see what they're made of, mentally and physically. It's about the time where they really started to struggle against Capital in a Saturday's match, and already down 1-0 against the Polar Bears. You can ill afford more mistakes. On the floor for the Yellow Jackets, Katarina Blazedic, Lauren Gardner, Ashley Curtis, who will stay on serve, Bryn McClellan, Josie Lynn, and Sam Ruetta. The Polar Bears counter with Lauren James, Summer Hoying, Kate Zellers, Haley Hammer, Rachel Jennings, and then a Grace Ermer in the back. Curtis floats it over with the right hand. Jennings tight to the net. Zellers into a block. It's out of bounds. Point for the Polar Bears. And now Sonia DeLynn will check in for Ohio Northern. Gabby Schleck will check in for the Yellow Jackets to replace Ashley Curtis. Lauren James on the serve. Received by Gardner, up to Blazedic, over to McClellan, and it's down for the kill. Bryn McClellan found just enough of a window to put that down untouched for the Yellow Jacket point. Josie Lynn on serve with a chance for the Yellow Jackets to tie things up here in the second set. Ermer sends it up to the front. It's hit by Hoying over. Lynn on a dive sends it right back over on the first hit. It's tight to the net. Hoying will punch it over, and the Polar Bears will be flagged for an infraction. Point for the Yellow Jackets.
Great defense there out of the middle, too. How about that by Lynn?
Yeah, Lynn does an outstanding job. She may be known most for her hitting abilities, but she's great at blocking too. It's hit over on the third by the Polar Bears. The Yellow Jackets respond with McClellan in the down through a block for the point.
That's big there for the Yellow Jackets. McClellan has her first 2 kills of the game in the last 3 points. Really important to get her going here the rest of this set and the rest of the way.
No doubt about that. You need your top players to step up, and make no mistake, Bryn McClellan, one of those top players for the Yellow Jackets. Hoying on the outside hit, blasts it wide of the end line. It's a point for the Yellow Jackets, and they lead it 18-16 now here in the second set. Lynn on the hit, or on the serve, I should say. She sends it wide near side for the side out point to the Polar Bears, and Conrad and Wagner come back in. It'll be Conrad on serve.
Big rotation here for the Jacks to side out of quickly. They've only got 2 options front row, and you got Wagner back on the opposite side.
Floating serve played by Schlecht over to McClellan. She punches it through a block, and it's knocked out of bounds by the Polar Bears. Point for the Yellow Jackets. Katarina Blazetic on serve now for BW. And the Polar Bears let it go, thinking it was going out of bounds. And the official said, not so fast. That caught the line. It's a point for the Yellow Jackets. They now lead it 20-17 after the Blazetic ace. Jennings on the reception this time to Conrad. Goes over to Wagner. Gardner on a dive, sends it over on the first crack. Now another opportunity for the Polar Bears, and again, Gardner's there for the dig, but this time a block on an outside hit puts it down for the Ohio Northern point. Ermer out and Ballman back in for the Polar Bears with Summer Hoying going on serve.
It's an incredible individual effort there by Gardner. Those were two amazing digs.
Blazetic on a quick set, and Simonson mistimed it. It floated a little bit too far away from her, and it's down for the Ohio Northern point. Chance for Ohio Northern to even things up here in the second set as the Yellow Jackets lead down to 1, 20-19. Schlecht on the reception to McClellan. Over to Lexi Smith off the top of the net, and it's going to be down for a point. Credit Rachel Jennings hustling after that, sending several of her teammates scrambling to get out of the way. But a point nonetheless for the Yellow Jackets. And McClellan will sub out for Jamie Snell. Gabby Schlecht will check out for Bella Martinez, and Snell will go on serve.
That swing there from Lexi Smith, it's very easy to overlook how difficult that swing was. She's a lefty, having to track that ball over her right shoulder, way inside, and still able to get the kill on that.
Wagner on the hit for the Polar Bears, and it's going to be a kill as it's out of bounds off of the Yellow Jackets.
First kill for Wagner in this set after she had 8 in the first one.
She hit at a .615 percentage in the first set. And as you said, Michael, earlier in the second set, she's been hitting at a negative for much of it. Jennings on serve. It's received by Gardner to Blazetic to Lexi Smith. Down for the kill. Lexi Smith skying above the net and sending it down to the court for the point.
Watch out.
My goodness. That was an incredible hit for Lexi Smith. Lauren Gardner on serve now. It's received up to Gardner, over to Wagner, into a block, and it's somehow backed up and kept alive by the Polar Bears. But James, a little miscommunication there on the set, jumped a little too early and then was hitting it in her descent as she was crashing near the floor. And it's a point for the Yellow Jackets. Now 23-20, BW in front. Lauren Gardner on serve. She goes far side, it's hit by Miller. Now Ballman punches it over. Snell on the dive, keeps it alive. Blazetic to Smith with the right hand. She gets it over. Jennings on the second hit. Ballman sends it over on a free. Gardner to Blazetic on a quick tip. It's down for the Yellow Jacket point. BW on set point now, 24-20.
That point right there is all because of Lexi Smith's smart shot out of system. She forces Wagner to come take the ball over here. The libero's unable to get a good set on it, and it's just an easy free ball over for the Jackets.
Gardner serve received close to the net by Bauman. James on the hit, through a block, down for the Ohio Northern point. BW still on set point though, 24-21. Haley Hammer will come in to serve for the Polar Bears. Snell on the reception. Up to Blazetic. Over to Lynn off the top of the net. Punched over by the Polar Bears. Blazetic on the set. Over to Martinez. Down for the kill and the set victory. We're back to even at 1 set apiece as BW claims the second set. 25-21 over the Polar Bears of Ohio Northern. This one is guaranteed to go at least 4. We're going to step aside for a break. When we come back, third set action for you on BWYellowJackets.com. everyone, and welcome back inside Ursprung Gymnasium at the Lou Higgins Center on the campus of Baldwin Wallace University, where we are even at one set apiece in Ohio Athletic Conference women's volleyball action, as after dropping the first set 25-15, Baldwin Wallace rallied for a 25-21 victory in that second set. Just 9 kills for the Yellow Jackets in the first set. Michael Beard joining me in the booth today. How about this? 17 kills in that second set.
Yeah, they were certainly just flipped the table on ONU. ONU went 17 kills, then only to 7 in that second set. BW went 9-17. Something else that's very interesting here, you look at the side out percentage. BW siding out at 40% in the first set, 42% in the second set. Both of those well below what you would hope to see. But in the second set, ONU sided out at only 36%. Not too often that you're going to side out at 42% and win a set, but the Jackets managed to do it in that one, and what a comeback it was. Down 10-2, come back and win fairly comfortably there as well.
On the floor to start this third set for the Yellow Jackets, Bryn McClellan, Katarina Blazetic, Sydney Simonson, Lauren Gardner, Gabby Schlecht, and Sam Rueda. On the floor for Ohio Northern, Rachel Jennings, Grace Conrad, Olivia Ballman, Summer Hoying, Sonia DeLynn, and Aaron Wagner. Grace Conrad goes on serve. She'll float it over. It's played by Schlecht. Up to Blazetic, over to McClellan, backed up by Jennings. This one will be sent over and dug out by Sam Rueda. Now to McClellan again, into a block. Gardner punches it back over, gets it sent right back at her. Blazetic into a block on the quick tip, and it's down for the Ohio Northern point.
I believe Simonson kicked that ball while she was in the air for a 1 ball. And the block back over just happened to hit her in the foot, which is a shame because Blazetic was there for the self-cover.
Conrad's second serve received once more and sent back over by the Yellow Jackets. Gardner on a dig on an outside hit from the Polar Bears. McClellan on a hit, through a block, and it's down for the Yellow Jacket point. We're even at 1 each here in the third set.
Lauren Gardner has been playing some outstanding defense this game, and a very intelligent shot there by McClellan as well. A little high roll over the setter playing defense and right back.
Rueda checks out, Lexi Smith back in, and to your point, Michael, Lauren Gardner been covering a lot of ground in the early going. And now McClellan skies above after the reception goes over the net on the first hit, and she just hammers it to the far side corner for a Yellow Jacket point.
Good to see McClellan get 2 early kills here. She's only had 3 so far in the game. It's a good start to this set.
Jennings on the reception, Wagner on a hit, and Wagner's down for the point. Well, it looks like regardless of that, the Yellow Jackets were going to lose as they were called for an infraction on that point. So Ohio Northern gets it. We're even at 2, and Summer Hoying will drop back to serve it up. Played by McClellan. Over to Gardner, back to McClellan, and it's down for the Yellow Jacket kill. Bryn McClellan playing pretty loose here in this third set, and she's doing a number on the Ohio Northern Polar Bears. She will sub out as Jamie Schnell will check in for the Yellow Jackets and go on serve. Bella Martinez back for Gabby Schlecht as well.
3 points for BW, 3 points for McClellan in this set.
Conrad with a set, Wagner with a hit off her back foot. It's dug out by Blazetic. Set up for Lexi Smith on a tip, backed up by Wagner. Over to Conrad, now to Ballman, and she hits it down through a Yellow Jacket block for a point.
Even though BW didn't get that point, that's a very smart shot by Lexi Smith there, forcing Wagner to run through, take herself out of the play. ONU is only going to have one option to the outside, just unable to get the block on that one.
Rachel Jennings on serve, goes far corner, Snell on a reception. It's set up for Martinez off the top of the net, and the Yellow Jacket's going to be called for an infraction point to the Polar Bears. Jennings to stay on serve, looking to build on a 4-3 lead here in this third set. We're even at one set apiece. Jennings with a serve again, going far side corner to Snell. It's set up for Lexi Smith, backed up by Jennings on the dig. Quick hit by Conrad, and the Yellow Jackets will be awarded the point by the official in the stand.
After Snell had a little bit of trouble in serve receive there at the start of the second set, she has been lights out both on defense and in serve receive since then.
And it's nice to have her in that back, helping to anchor the defense for the Yellow Jackets. Wagner on a hit, and Wagner on a kill as it lands right to the left of Jamie Snell on a dive.
That's just something that you can't afford there as BW. I mean, I know it's a perfect pass, and the setter for ONU has all three options, but you got to take your chances with the outside in the middle there. You know Wagner's their go-to, and they're going to look to get her going after she really struggled the last set.
Hammer on to serve for Ohio Northern. Smith on the hit for the Yellow Jackets, and that's a BW kill as it's out of bounds off of the Polar Bears. Sam Ruetta will check in. Lexi Smith will check out. Sam Ruetta to go on serve.
I'm really hoping one of these times they let Lexi Smith serve. I want to see her topspin.
We shall see when that time comes. Lauren James on the attack, and Lauren James hits it wide of the sideline for a Yellow Jacket point. BW now with a 6-5 edge here in the third set. Ruetta stays on serve. It gets set up and hit over by Zellers. It's handled by Lynn and then batted right back at her by James. Ruetta on a back row attack, goes far back corner. Jennings sets it up for Zellers. It's blocked at the net. Jennings backs it up. Over to Bauman now. Gardner on a dig, but the Yellow Jackets can't get a second hit. And that'll even us at 6 here in the third set.
A little bit of hesitation there on Gardner's set. You got Ruetta back row. She's usually your primary hitter there and out of system, but Blazetic transitioned back to hit as well, and she loves to hit front row when she has the chance. Just a little bit of hesitation between those two.
Blazetic tried to hit it over on the second attempt by the Yellow Jackets because it was pretty tight to the net, and James says, no thank you, I'll just block it down and get my team another point to keep Grace Ermer on serve. Ruetta on the reception, up to Blazetic, over to Martinez, down for the kill. Bella Martinez is some kind of special on the outside. She can find a gap and make an opponent pay for giving her a good look.
Yeah, BW's outsides have come to play this last set and a half. It's really been the key to them turning around the scoreboard as well.
Curtis and McClellan come on. Snell and Martinez come off for the Yellow Jackets. Ermer on the serve reception. Over to James off the top of the net. It's Ruetta on the dive, keeping it alive. To Lynn, now to McClellan, off a deflection, out of bounds. Point for the Yellow Jackets, and they reclaim the set lead at 8-7.
Great turn and run there by Ruetta. That's one of the toughest things to do in volleyball, a ball that's straight over your head. Got to open the hips like a cornerback and get back there. Great touch by her, and then a great swing by McClellan as well.
Curtis stays on serve. It's played tight to the net. Zellers on the hit. Backed up by Curtis on the dig. Over to Blazetic. Back row attack from Ruetta. It's handled by Hammer. Up to Jennings. Over to Zellers. Over a block. Gardner to Blazetic. Quick hit from Lynn. Trying to go back corner. Kept alive by the Polar Bears. And it'll be Summer Hoying who puts it down for the Ohio Northern kill to even us at 8 points apiece. Lauren James will serve now for the Polar Bears against the Yellow Jackets. Schlecht to Blazetic, over to McClellan, and that set went a little bit longer than McClellan had planned on, and it's out of bounds before the Yellow Jackets can get a third hit. Polar Bears now in front by 1, 9-8. Ruetta on the reception to Blazetic, over to McClellan, goes far side, gets it past the reach of Ermer, and it's down for the kill.
BW scored 9 points so far this set, and McClellan has 5 kills. That is going to be huge for BW later in this game.
Yeah, she is catching fire at the right time, and Bella Martinez, who's been subbing her out, has done the job as well. Lynn on the serve. It's played tight to the net, blocked at the net by Simonson. Second hit, over and out of bounds by the Polar Bears. Point for the Yellow Jackets. They lead at 10-9 here in the third, and Josie Lynn will stay on serve. Irmer on the reception. Jennings over to Hoying. It's Rueda to Blazetic to Simonson. Going back corner, kept alive by the Bears. Zeller on the hit, and it's a block for the Yellow Jackets.
Simonson has been doing a great job all game of when the set's not there, throwing it into right back, knowing that ONU's running a 6-2. It's always going to be a setter that has to take that first ball, forcing ONU's libero to set the second one, and always an out-of-system ball for them.
So the Yellow Jackets lead it 11-9 here in the third set. We're even at 1 apiece. And while we have this opportunity, we want to remind you that tonight's Yellow Jacket women's volleyball match is being brought to you by University Hospitals Jasinski Sports Medicine Institute, proud official healthcare provider for BW Athletics and its student athletes. BSN Sports and Nike, the official apparel and uniform provider for Yellow Jacket Athletics, and Dan Andrews and Olympic Forest Products, a global recycling company. Today's match is also being brought to you by City Barbecue, celebrating 25 years of competition quality Q, the Oswald Company, risk and insurance leader since 1893, and Chuck Rotuno, OE Connection LLC, your global automotive technology provider. Tonight's match also brought to you by Barron's Bus Lines, the official charter bus company of Yellow Jacket Athletics. Mike's Bar and Grill in downtown Berea, a great place before or after any Yellow Jacket event. And Medical Mutual of Ohio, the official healthcare provider of Baldwin Wallace University. You're enjoying tonight's Yellow Jacket women's volleyball match on BWYellowJackets.com. Josie Lynn staying on serve, hits it over. It's played by Irmer. Over to Zellers now, and down for the Ohio Northern point. BW thought they got it, and the official says not so fast. It is a point for the Polar Bears. The Gardner comes in, Lynn checks out. Aaron Conrad on the serve. It's a short one played by Simonson. Up to Blazetic. Over to McClellan. Jennings hustles after it after Irmer's hit. Hoying barely gets it over. It's to Blazetic. Now to Rueda. Jennings on the dig. Up to Conrad. Over to Wagner. She's soft. Hits it over. Gardner on the dive to keep it alive. McClellan on the hit. Dug out by Irmer. Over to Conrad. Now to Wagner off a flat foot. And it is down for the point. Ohio Northern out of the timeout, evens things up at 11 here in the third set. Conrad floats it over. Rueda up to Blazetic, over to McClellan, through a block, and it's down for the Yellow Jacket point. Katarina Blazetic goes on serve with the Yellow Jackets in front, 12-11. It's tight to the sideline. It gets over on one hit on the reception. Blazetic with a set. Lexi Smith with a left-handed hit. It's over. But Jennings plays it up, and it gets to Wagner. She sends it over. Blazetic now with the second hit. Over to McClellan. It's tipped out of bounds by the Polar Bears. And Bryn McClellan gives the Yellow Jackets a 13-11 advantage over the Polar Bears.
McClellan doing exactly what you got to do against this ONU block to be successful. You got to hit high, hard, and deep off those hands. It's a big block up there.
Blazetic serve played over by Wagner now on the third hit. Simonson punches it over. Ohio Northern wanted a lift. They didn't get it. Gardner on the hit. Blazetic on the dive. Simonson on the free. Plays it over. Conrad to Wagner. Gardner with a dig. It's rocketed right back at her, though, by Sonia DeLynn, and it's down for the Polar Bear point. Ballman comes back for Ohio Northern. Ermer checks out. Summer Hoying drops back to go on serve. It's received by McClellan. Over to Gardner. Back to McClellan. Goes far side corner, and that's going to be a Yellow Jacket point off of the deflection from the Polar Bears.
McClellan has done a great job bailing herself out of serve receive. That's twice in a row now in that rotation where she's had a fairly mediocre pass but made up for it with a kill immediately following it.
You don't want to have to make up for it, but it's nice when you can.
Absolutely.
Jamie Snell checks in to go on serve. Bella Martinez also back for the Yellow Jackets. Snell punches it over. It's received by Miller. Up to Conrad. Snell on a dive. Gets the dig. Over to Martinez now through a block. It's a Yellow Jacket point.
What a dig by Snell there. And I absolutely love Martinez there. Just taking a rip in transition. That's a big double block with Wagner up there too. And she just challenges that outside hand and gets the tool.
Snell stays on serve. Miller on a dive, keeps it alive. Over to Ballman. Dug out by Gardner. The Yellow Jackets called for an infraction point to the Polar Bears. And they will go on serve with Rachel Jennings doing the honors. Jennings hits it over. Gardner on the reception. Up to Blazetic. Over to Lexi Smith on a tip. On a dive. It's kept alive and then punched out of bounds by the Polar Bears. BW gets the point.
I really like what Lexi Smith has been doing here. She's either been hitting as hard as she can or she's been tipping right over the block to try to get Wagner to run through it and take herself out of the play.
Gardner on serve now for the Yellow Jackets. They lead at 16-13. Wagner on the hit. Katarina Blazetic on the dig. It'll be sent over on a free by Gardner. Jennings to Conrad. Over to Ballman. Into a block. It's down for the Yellow Jacket point. Josie Lynn getting every piece of that ball and putting it right down to the floor.
Great dig by Blazetic to even give the Jackets a chance to block that one, though. And a nice rundown as well by Snell to get it.
Gardner floats the serve over. Ballman on the reception. Over to Conrad. Now to Wagner. Into a block. Down for the Yellow Jacket point. It's Josie Lynn getting in on the action once again. And timeout on the floor by the Ohio Northern Polar Bears. The Yellow Jackets with an 18-13 lead here in this third set. And we're even at one set apiece. The Yellow Jackets looking to go ahead for the first time tonight. While we have this opportunity, we want to remind you that tonight's Yellow Jacket women's volleyball match is being brought to you by University Hospital's Straczynski Sports Medicine Institute, proud official healthcare provider for BW Athletics and its student athletes, BSN Sports and Nike, the official apparel and uniform provider for Yellow Jacket Athletics, and Dan Andrews and Olympic Forest Products, a global recycling company. Tonight's match is also being brought to you by City Barbecue, celebrating 25 years of competition quality Q. The Oswald Company, risk and insurance leaders since 1893. Chuck Rotuno and OE Connection LLC, your global automotive technology provider. Barron's Bus Lines, the official charter bus company of Yellow Jacket Athletics. Mike's Bar and Grill in downtown Berea, a great place before or after any Yellow Jacket event. And Medical Mutual of Ohio, the official healthcare provider of Baldwin Wallace University. You are enjoying tonight's Yellow Jacket women's volleyball match on BWYellowJackets.com. Out of the timeout, it's James, Ballman, Conrad, Wagner, Jennings, and Haley Miller on the floor for Ohio Northern. On the floor for the Yellow Jackets, Josie Lynn, Bella Martinez, Lexi Smith, Katarina Blazetic, Jamie Snell, and Lauren Gardner staying on serve. Gardner punches it over. Miller up to Conrad, over to James on a quick hit. Snell on a dive. Sends it right back over but keeps it alive. Wagner on a third hit. through a block. Blazetic on the set, over to Martinez, goes near side or far side and hits it just wide of the line. Good look, and it didn't miss by a whole heck of a lot, Michael.
No, I think that call really just depends on who your line judge is.
And checking in and going on serve, it's Haley Hammer, 5'7" freshman out of Fairview. And her serve is long, so it's a point for the Yellow Jackets. And they lead at 19-14 here in the third. Sam Ruetta comes in for Lexi Smith, and Ruetta will go on serve. Miller up, and then it gets sent over on a third hit by Zellers. Blazetic on a quick set, and the Polar Bears are going to be called for an infraction. The Yellow Jackets will get the point.
Great dig there by Ruetta down the line as well.
Ruetta goes on serve. Miller on the reception. Jennings on the second hit. He's sent over on a free by Zellers. Snell to Blazetic. Over to Martinez. Down for the kill. Bella Martinez rising above the net and rocketing it to the court for the point. Taylor Kraft, a 6-foot freshman middle hitter from Defiance and Ayersville High School, checks in for the Polar Bears. Ruetta stays on serve, and that's an ace as it's mishandled by Jennings. Hit low off of her thumbs and goes right to the court for the Yellow Jacket point. Ruetta hits it over. Miller on the reception. Gets set up for James through a block, backed up by Ruetta. Over to Blazetic, now to Martinez. Another kill for the Yellow Jacket freshman from Newark.
She is going to be a problem for the next 4 years.
And that's a good problem if you're a Yellow Jacket fan, because it means it's everybody else that has to deal with her. It's punched over by Ballman, backed up by Gardner, set up for Lynn. She goes far side. The ball gets into the rafters. It comes down. Jennings somehow read it perfectly to keep it alive, but then James hits it wide of the pole extending from the net for the Yellow Jacket point, and BW now on set point against Ohio Northern. Ruetta hits it over. Miller on the dive, and it's going to be punched over on the third hit. Lynn to Blazetic, over to Martinez, through a block, and it's a point for the Yellow Jackets. They dominate the third set and take a 2-1 lead as they take the third 25-14. We're going to step aside for a break. When we come back, fourth set action for you as the Yellow Jackets try and close out the win over Ohio Northern on BWYellowJackets.com. On the campus of Baldwin Wallace University, where it's Ohio Athletic Conference women's volleyball action between the Baldwin Wallace Yellow Jackets and Ohio Northern Polar Bears. Baldwin Wallace dominates third set action 25-14, and they take a 2-1 lead over the Polar Bears with a chance to close it out here in the fourth set. Taking a look at those third set numbers, Bryn McClellan just 3 kills over the first 2 sets. How about this? She had 8 on 13 total attacks in that third set. And then Bella Martinez with 5 kills in 7 total attacks in that third set as well. The Yellow Jacket outside hitters coming to play in that third set, especially to put the Yellow Jackets in front 2-1 in this best-of-5 match.
Yeah, absolutely. Another thing to keep a lookout for, Erin Wagner, she started off that first set blistering, .615 percentage. Since then, she's had 4 kills over the last 2 sets and 4 errors. She's hit 0 since that first set is over. Additionally, BW has improved their hitting percentage from .073 to .225 after the second to .306 in that third, siding out at 66% compared to ONU's 37%. It was dominance across the board there in that third set.
So the Yellow Jackets will start off this third set with Lexi Smith, Bryn McClellan, Sydney Simonson, Lauren Gardner, Gabby Schleck, and Katarina Blazetic on the floor. It'll be Blazetic who will serve it up. It's played back row up to Conrad, over to Wagner, into a block. Wagner keeps it alive. Now tipped over on the third. Smith to Blazetic, over to McClellan. Goes back line, near corner, gets it down for the kill. On the floor for the Polar Bears, Rachel Jennings, Grace Conrad, Summer Hoying, Erin Wagner, Sonia DeLynn, and Olivia Bauman. Blazetic stays on serve with the Yellow Jackets up by a point. She'll float it over, Bauman on the reception, up to Conrad, over to Hoying, through a block. Blazetic to Gardner, over to McClellan, down for the Yellow Jacket kill. Bryn McClellan coming to play today, gets another outstanding outside hit for the Jackets.
And she's got both the Jackets points so far, and in 2 very different ways. A soft roll down the line and a nuke cross court.
Blazetic on the serve, Ballman up to Conrad, over to Wagner, into a block. It's down for the Ohio Northern point.
Simonson's got caught a couple of times tonight, just not quite pressed enough at the point of contact. She's been in the right spot more times than not tonight, but just not quite pressed over enough to get some of those blocks.
Summer Hoying goes on serve. It's played up by Schlecht. Lexi Smith hits it over. It'll be sent over by Wagner. Blazetic on a dive, over to Gardner. Now to Lexi Smith, off the top of the net. Down for the Yellow Jacket point, says the line judge. BW in front, 3-1. Jamie Snell in, as is Bella Martinez. Snell will go on serve. It's played up to Conrad. Quick hit at the net and down for the point, Sonia DeLynn. Rachel Jennings on serve for Ohio Northern. Snell on a reception, up to Blazetic, over to Lexi Smith, goes back corner, gets it down for the Yellow Jacket kill.
Love that from Smith. Every time that she's gone up to tip in the entire third set, it was just a nice tip over the block to try and get Wagner out of the play. That time she mixes it up and throws it deep line and nobody's home.
Gardner on serve. It's received by Jennings, sent over to Wagner, down the near sideline, and it's a point for Ohio Northern.
That's a great shot there by Wagner. Not too much you can do. That's thread the needle between the antenna and the block, and Gardner's unable to get it playing on the line either.
Haley Miller, the North Ridgeville Ranger alum, sends it over. It's received by Martinez. Lynn tracks it down, sent over on a free by Jamie Snell. Miller to Conrad to James off the top of a block. Snell backs it up to Blazetic. Quick hit by Lynn, kept alive by Miller, sent over on a free by Conrad. Snell, Blazetic over to Lexi Smith, far corner, down for the Yellow Jacket point.
I like that play there too from Lexi Smith. She runs a back one there in transition. Just a little bit different look there from Smith, and ONU's block was not ready for it.
Sam Rueda serves it over. Jennings to Conrad, over to Ballman. Gardner on the dig, and then it's clobbered by Lauren James. And James actually thought that the official was going to take it away from her, but nothing to do it. Ohio Northern gets the point.
That's how you know it's bad. When as a player you're thinking, oh crap, they got me on that one, and they go the other way.
Not a good feeling, but fortunately for her and the Polar Bears, it goes her way. Ermer on serve now, and that's going to be an ace as Rueda's reception takes a hard bank left and books it out of bounds. Ermer stays on serve, and rare net hit in tonight's match results in a service error for the Polar Bears, and the Yellow Jackets will get the point. Bryn McClellan will come on for Jamie Snell. Bella Martinez will take a seat in lieu of Ashley Curtis, who will go on serve for the Yellow Jackets.
To your point there, that was only the 5th missed serve of the game by both sides combined. BW, I think, probably had 5 missed serves in the third set against Capital alone on Saturday.
Ohio Northern with the hustle play to keep it alive. It's Rueda up to Blazetic, now to McClellan, through a block and down for the Yellow Jacket kill. The thing I've noticed tonight, Michael, versus the Capital match, BW playing much looser, and they look like they're having a whole lot of fun.
Absolutely, yeah. I think that's kind of what you expect. You know, you maybe make a value judgment on Capital and you think, oh, you know, we should just win this game. And then when Capital starts to fight back, you get a little tense. You're like, oh my gosh, we cannot lose this. Versus ONU, you come out after the first set, you're like, well, let's be real, it really can't get too much worse than that.
Right.
You come back, make a great comeback in the second set, and they've been playing very loose since then, and it showed on the scoreboard.
Josie Lynn got the last point for the Yellow Jackets. They now lead at 8-5 with Ashley Curtis staying on serve. It's received by Miller. It goes backwards. Never a good feeling, but it'll be played over by Jennings. Rueda up to Blazetic, over to McClellan off the top of a block. Miller punches it in the air. Conrad then sends it over, and Zellers sends it out for the Yellow Jacket point.
Jackets have been doing a great job of just making life difficult for ONU. A serve that the reception is back past the end line, and then another hit where the dig is extremely low and in the middle of the court where the setter has to scramble to try to set it.
James hits it around a Yellow Jacket block and down for the ONU point. James will go on serve with the Polar Bears trailing at 9-6. Received by Rueda, up to Blazetic, over to McClellan. She punches it down and finds a gap once more. We've seen Bryn McClellan go soft near sideline, opposite corner, and then right in the middle of the court on a soft touch over the net.
Yeah, I said something about that before we played Capital. She's just very crafty. She's able to score in a lot of different ways, and you're seeing that here tonight. Zellers
punches over a roll shot on a third hit. Yellow Jackets on a dive, keep it alive, and send it over on a free. Ballman on an outside hit. Hits it a little bit too much, going for that opposite side corner and sends it out of bounds. Timeout on the floor with the Yellow Jackets leading it 11-6. And while we have this opportunity, I want to remind you that tonight's Yellow Jacket women's volleyball match is being brought to you by University Hospitals, Straczynski Sports Medicine Institute, proud official healthcare provider for BW Athletics and its student athletes. BSN Sports and Nike, the official apparel and uniform provider for Yellow Jacket Athletics. Dan Andrews and Olympic Forest Products, a global recycling company. Tonight's match is also being brought to you by City Barbecue, celebrating 25 years of competition quality barbecue. The Oswald Company, risk and insurance leaders since 1893. Chuck Rotuno and OE Connection LLC, your global automotive technology provider. Barron's Bus Lines, the official charter bus company of Yellow Jacket Athletics. Mike's Bar and Grill in downtown Berea, a great place before or after any Yellow Jacket event. And Medical Mutual of Ohio, the official healthcare provider of Baldwin Wallace University. You're enjoying tonight's Yellow Jacket women's volleyball match on BWYellowJackets.com. Matt Florjancic and Michael Beard on the call for this one. And Michael, it has been a good one between the Yellow Jackets and the Polar Bears.
Absolutely. The Jackets, the biggest difference in this game between Saturday's game and really even the first set of this game when they lost is the pin production. Bryn McClellan's hitting 444 with 15 kills. Bella Martinez is hitting 500 with 8 kills. And Lexi Smith off the bench, 10 kills, hitting 348. That is elite pin production from 3 different people. That's going to win you a lot of ball games.
The Yellow Jackets with a block at the net. The Polar Bears trying to play it over. Zellers punches it over a hit attempt by Sam Ruetta, and it's down for a point. Ohio Northern on serve. It's floated over by Conrad. Schlecht to Blazetic, over to McClellan. It's kept alive by the Polar Bears. Wagner on a hit, and that's a kill for Ohio Northern as Wagner rockets it out of bounds off of Sam Ruetta. It's floated over, played by Ruetta up to Blazetic. McClellan from the middle hits it over. Now Zeller's trying to punch it over. She will. Schlecht with the dig, sends it right back over, and it's punched back over by Zellers. Now McClellan into a block on a secondary hit. Off the block, tries to keep it alive, unable to do so. Point to the Polar Bears. It's 11-9 now. Yellow Jackets in front, but Polar Bears trying to claw back into this one as they've taken 3 straight points.
I believe that's the first time McClellan's been stopped at the net in probably 2 sets.
Yeah, it's been a minute. Sydney Simonson absolutely unloads on that ball and sends it rocketing out of bounds off of one of the Polar Bears. I sense some frustration was let out on that hit.
Yeah, and a little bit different look there, too. Simonson's been hitting out of the middle all night, and in the past 2 plays there, McClellan's gone around for a 1 ball, and Simonson stayed on the outside.
Blazetic on serve. It's played over by Zellers. Backed up by Schlecht on the dig. Now over to Lexi Smith through a block, and it's going to be kept alive by Ermer. On a free, it's sent over. Gardner to Blazetic, to Simonson into a block. Backed up by Gardner, punched over by Blazetic. Conrad on the set. It's through a block, but McClellan keeps it alive. It's sent over back corner. Now to Wagner. Down the line it goes, and it's in. 12-10 is our score. Yellow Jackets in front by 2 here in the 4th. Ballman comes in and checking in for her first action today. A 5'2 junior from Foothill Ranch, California, and Trabuco Hills High School. Number 1, Elizabeth Barbara. Yellow Jackets tending to some court maintenance. And we're back underway. Barbara southpaw serve handled by Schlecht. Up to Gardner, over to McClellan. Dug out by Barbara, up to Conrad, and finished off at the net by DeLynn.
You'll take that, though, if you're BW. You made someone other than Wagner beat you on that point.
It's exactly what you're supposed to do. Make everybody else beat you. Barbara hits it over. Schlecht on the reception. Over to Gardner. Now to McClellan. Off the top of a block, backed up by Conrad, over to Jennings. Wagner on a hit, down for the kill. We're even at 12, and BW will burn its first time out of this fourth set. Michael, good start to this fourth set by Baldwin Wallace. Now Ohio Northern picking up some momentum. And you look at the board, they've won 6 out of the last 7 points to even the score at 12 apiece. Yellow Jackets trying to quell that momentum with the timeout. What are you thinking here? What's going on in that huddle?
Well, I think the biggest thing that they're talking about here is just getting a pass. That's been the problem with them not signing out here recently. The passes have just been a little bit too far off the net. You've seen Lauren Gardner has had to set the last 2. Really, the only option was to go to McClellan on both of those. And, I mean, she's been on fire, but hitting against a double block that includes Wagner is no easy task. So I think we're just looking to get a good pass here, something high, even around 10 feet would be fine. Allow Blazetic to have multiple options on offense. You just need one put away here. If I'm Blazetic, I'm probably going away from McClellan, not because she's struggled as of late or anything, just because I would take my chances against someone other than Wagner with the block. But we'll see how that goes here.
You will see, in fact, after the timeout on the floor for the Polar Bears, it is Jennings with Conrad, Barbara on serve, Wagner, DeLynn, and Ballman up front. The Yellow Jackets counter with McClellan, Simonson, Lexi Smith, Gabby Schlecht, Katarina Blazetic, and Lauren Gardner. Barbara's southpaw serve, received by Schlecht. Up to Blazetic, over to Lexi Smith, down for the kill. All they had to do was follow your advice, Michael, and the Yellow Jackets get another point. They went away from McClellan, got away from Wagner, put it down through a block, now lead at 13-12 with Jamie Snell going on serve.
Is that what Tony Romo feels like when he calls plays before they happen?
I do not know, but I would imagine so. Jamie Snell on serve, and it's played way in the back, now to Wagner, and she hits it out of bounds. It's one of those where Barbara got caught in no man's land. That sure looked like it could have been going out, but you don't want to let it fall at the last second. So she played it, and Ohio Northern was out of rhythm, and now the Yellow Jackets with a 2-point edge. Jamie Snell to serve it over. It's received by Jennings, up to Conrad, over to Ballman on the outside, dug out by Gardner, up to Blazetic, over to Lexi Smith, and Jennings hustles after it to keep it alive. Ballman on the third hit. It's over, played by Snell to Blazetic, now to Bella Martinez, and that's going to be out of bounds off of the Polar Bears for another Yellow Jacket point. 15-12, Yellow Jackets in front in this fourth set. They win this set, they win the match. They're up 2-1 here in the fourth. Jamie Snell stays on serve. It's received by Barbara, up to Conrad, over to Ballman in the middle. Gardner there to Blazetic, now to Lexi Smith, far corner, kept alive by Conrad. Wagner on a hit, dug out by Gardner, tipped over by Sydney Simonson. Played to Conrad, now to Ballman. Snell on the dig, sends it all the way over. Conrad with a quick tip, and it is down for the point to the right of Lauren Gardner. Lauren Gardner covers a lot of ground, but sometimes people are able to sneak it just out of her reach, and that was the case there.
That was a heck of a dig on Wagner, though, before that.
You're not kidding, Michael. Jennings on serve, and that's going to be an ace as Gardner receives it, but nobody else gets a second hit on it. And now it's 1 point away from even. It's Jennings floating it over. Gardner to Blazetic, over to Smith, into a block. It's backed up by Gardner. Blazetic now to Martinez, and led her a little too far. Out of bounds, we're even at 15. Jennings will stay on serve, and instead of going from the right side of the floor, she'll switch up, go near side left with her alignment. And she flat foots it into the net for the error. It's a point for the Yellow Jackets. Lynn comes back in for Sydney Simonson. Lauren Gardner will go back on serve for the Yellow Jackets. She'll chop at the ball 3 times, dribble it out 5, and hit the jumping right-hander over the net. Played by Barbara. Up to Conrad, over to Wagner. Dug out by Blazetic. Over to Gardner. Now to Martinez. Through a block. It's down for the Yellow Jacket point off the deflection. 17-15. Yellow Jackets in front. Lauren Gardner stays on serve.
I will say, Bella Martinez is quickly becoming one of my favorite players to watch. There is no reason why she should ever be taking that big of a swing on that set, but she just goes for it and gets a kill.
Martinez again off the top of the net, down for the Yellow Jacket point. Not to make too many comparisons, but you feel about Bella Martinez how I felt about watching Daniel Latham play on the outside. Every time Latham would go up for a hit, you knew it was going to be fantastic. Whether it was going to be a point or not, who knew, but it was going to be a good hit nonetheless. Wagner on the hit. It's blocked by the Yellow Jackets, kept alive by Smith. Now to Martinez, into a block, and down for the Ohio Northern point on the outside hit that cannot be returned by BW.
Just because you brought him up, I want to talk about Dan for a second here. That man is one of the most entertaining people that I have ever gotten to play with.
Why do you think I like watching him play?
Absolutely. Every point, every time he gets set, it's so exciting because you just never know what's going to happen, but it's going to be so fun to watch regardless of what the outcome is.
Miller on the serve and now on a dig on an outside hit from Josie Lynn. Gardner with the set over to Lexi Smith into a block. Down for the Polar Bear point. 18-17. Yellow Jacket lead down to 1. But I agree with you. Bella Martinez fast becoming one of the best Yellow Jackets to keep an eye on during a match, because when she gets set, something special could happen real quick. Miller punches it over. Snell on the reception on the short hit. Over to Lynn now off the Blazetic set. Down for the Yellow Jacket kill. Michael, these young Yellow Jackets playing some big-time minutes, making some big-time plays. The future looks bright for the Yellow Jackets, but for Martinez and Lynn in particular, the future is now.
Absolutely. I mean, you can't ask too much more of these freshmen. They are playing out of their minds right now.
Rueda went on serve, and Barbara got crossed up and unfortunately had it drop right in front of her for the Yellow Jacket point. They lead at 20-17 now. Rueda floats it over. Barbara to Conrad, over to Ballman with a roll shot. Gardner on a dive, gets the dig. Over to Martinez, down for the Yellow Jacket kill.
So nonchalant with it, too. That's the most emotion I think I've ever seen from her, and it was a let's go.
Yeah.
Right back to the huddle.
Not much emotion. She's all business on the court, and she's having herself a great match tonight. Rueda's serve returned over by Ballman, and she says, I see you, Bella Martinez, and I got one for you coming right back to get the Ohio Northern Polar Bears back on serve. It'll be Grace Irmer who will check in for Ballman and go on serve.
A little bit of a different look there, too, from ONU. Looked like that was a 32, a little bit inside. Jackets block was a little bit past it and gave her a nice lane cross court to hit.
Rueda on the dive, sends it right back over. Hoying to Conrad to James. It's dug out by Gardner. Over to Martinez. Tipped out of bounds for the Yellow Jacket kill. Bella Martinez continues to run the net when she's in the match. And I believe we have a timeout on the floor. It's a timeout by the Polar Bears. They trail it 22-18 here in the fourth set, and they're down 2-1, needing to win to keep it alive. While we have this opportunity, I want to remind you once more that tonight's Yellow Jacket women's volleyball match is being brought to you by University Hospital's Straczynski Sports Medicine Institute, proud official healthcare provider for BW Athletics and its student athletes. BSN Sports and Nike, the official apparel and uniform provider for Yellow Jacket Athletics. And Dan Andrews and Olympic Forest Products, a global recycling company. Tonight's match is also being brought to you by City Barbecue, celebrating 25 years of competition quality barbecue. The Oswald Company, risk and insurance leader since 1893. Chuck Rotuno and OE Connection LLC, your global automotive technology provider. Barron's Bus Lines, the official charter bus company of Yellow Jacket Athletics. Mike's Bar and Grill in downtown Berea, a great place before or after any Yellow Jacket event. and Medical Mutual of Ohio, the official healthcare provider of Baldwin Wallace University. You're enjoying tonight's Yellow Jacket women's volleyball match on BWYellowJackets.com. Matt Florjancic and Michael Beard along with you for the call of tonight's match, and it has been a dominant Yellow Jacket performance over the last 2 sets and some change as the Yellow Jackets 3 points away from closing out the win. Miller, Jennings, Ermer, James, Conrad, and Hoying on the floor for the Polar Bears. The Yellow Jackets counter with McClellan, Blazetic, Lynn, Gardner, Ruetta, and Ashley Curtis, who will be on serve.
Can I just say real quick, Bella Martinez is hitting .556 with 13 kills. That is elite.
Conrad on the set, Hoying with the hit over. It's dug out by Curtis, up to Blazetic, over to Lynn. Miller on the dig. Conrad on the hustle play, keeps it alive. It's in over on a free. Blazetic on the set now to McClellan, down the near sideline, and it's a point for the Yellow Jackets. And you can't see us here from the broadcast perch, but my partner in crime, Michael Beard, giving a couple of claps over to the Yellow Jackets on the outside hit that resulted in a point. Game respecting game right there, Michael.
Absolutely. Just finding a way to score. Kind of a tough set there. It was a little tight to the net, but McClellan's a very smart player, and she found a way to put it to the floor.
Gabby Schlecht will check back in for Ashley Curtis. The Polar Bears earn the last point, and James will go on serve with her team trailing 23-19. James floats it over, Schlecht on the reception. Up to Blazetic, over to McClellan, off the top of a block, and a point's going to be awarded to the Yellow Jackets. It's match point for BW.
Big point here for the Jackets. Obviously, it's match point, but if you're to lose this point, you let Wagner get back in the game, and you never know what can happen when she's on the court. You want to end it here, if at all possible.
Lynn on the serve off the top of the net. Miller sends it out of bounds. The Yellow Jackets will get the come from behind win. They win it in 4, 15-25, 25-21, 25-14, and 25-19 with the win today. The Yellow Jackets improve to 11-6 overall. They are now 1-2 in Ohio Athletic Conference play and 4-1 on their home deck here at Ursprung Gymnasium inside the Lou Higgins Center. Ohio Northern falls to 14-5 overall, 0-2 in Ohio Athletic Conference play, and 3-3 in away matches. Michael, before we get on out of here, any final thoughts today?
What a performance by the young guns. I mean, Bella Martinez, Josie Lynn, Lexi Smith, they played great games, and obviously you can't forget Bryn McClellan as well. The pin production of this game was outstanding. The middle production was just good enough to get the job done. Great job serving. One of the biggest reasons why we lost to Capital was because our service pressure was not there. We missed a lot of serves. I believe it was 2, maybe 3 missed serves the entire night. That's just a great job. Great team win for the Jackets tonight.
Yes, it was. Now the Yellow Jackets will go on the road for the weekend. They'll play in 1 match on a Friday night and then 2 on Saturday in the Hope College October tournament. And then they will get back into the teeth of the Ohio Athletic Conference schedule when they return to action after the trip up to Holland, Michigan over the weekend. Once again, the Yellow Jackets winners in 4 sets over the Ohio Northern Polar Bears, 15-25, 25-21, 25-14, 25-19 to improve to 11-6 overall and 1-2 in Ohio Athletic Conference play. For my partner in the booth, Michael Beard, I'm Matt Florjancic saying thank you for watching, and now and always remember, go Jackets!